Have you found yourself getting fidgety while watching another Netflix retread or going mind numb in another endless meeting? Well, these exercises are for you. 9 muscle support and stabilisation exercises you can do without having to get off your seat. Starting from the ground up, we have 2 ankle, 2 knee, 3 hip, and 2 wrist options. The first ankle option is a simple flex and extension. But wait, there's more. I want you to focus on slowly working the movements while ensuring your foot is coming directly back towards your calf without the ankle rolling it in or out. You may find it easiest to maintain this by extending your foot or feet in front of you so you can keep an eye on the line you're creating with your foot. Keep it slow, even, and controlled throughout. Number 2 is the raise. So now you can start getting those weird looks from people. Sit slightly forward, place both feet hip width apart so your ankles, knees, and hips are aligned, and your feet are drawn back so your knees are a little forward of the heels and closer to the middle of your foot. Place both fists between the knees to maintain that distance. If your fists aren't the right width, you can use cushions, pillows, your bag, anything that will help maintain that distance. You can also do it without, but that physical feedback can help you to tell if you are rolling your ankles in the next phase. Now that you have your position, we're going to do a raise. Focus on pushing up through the balls of your foot and having your heel go vertically up without rolling out or in. Pay attention to the tension of your knees on your fists. If they're getting squashed or the pressure lifts off, then chances are your ankles may have rolled in or out. We want to maintain that vertical raise without horizontal shift. The more you lean forward on your legs, the more resistance you're adding, and the more you can work those ankles and calves. Moving on to the knees. Creating strong support around your knee joints is important to help prevent knee-related injuries when you have the knee moving out of stable alignment. You can use a pillow, cushion, or ball, but I find that my hands are pretty much well on hand. To strengthen the muscles on the inside of the knee, we're going to stay seated and we're going to place our resistor in between our knees. If you're using your hands, you can place the opposite hand on the inside of your knee or lean further down to put your forearms in between. Feel free to do one knee at a time if you're using your hands. Now relax your lower legs as much as possible. Pretend they've been anesthetized below the knee. For counts of 2 or 3, you'll use your knees to try and push inwards or pushing out with your hands or arms, and then relax. Keep repeating until you get tired or, the commercials end. To work the outside muscles, we reverse the exercise. Place your hands or forearms on the outside of the knees, and again, keeping everything below the knee relaxed, have your knees push out or pushing in with your hands or arms. Hold for a few counts, and then relax before repeating. Moving up to our hips. To start mobilizing them, you can do a basic seated march. Simply focus on raising one leg at a time from the hip joint. Pretend everything from the hip down has fallen asleep, and try to ensure all the work is coming from activating your hip joint. To work on hip rotation, we're going to keep both feet firmly planted on the floor, hip width apart, knees over the ankle joint, and with the toes pointing forward. Straighten the lower limb by raising the lower leg with your foot flexing directly back towards your calf. Now focus on rotating the leg out using your hip joint as the pivot point. Slowly rotate back to neutral and then rotate again inward. You're not going to get as far. Then bring back to neutral, lower the leg, and repeat on the other side. Try to keep the rest of the leg less engaged so that your hip is the driving force of the rotation. Now, if you don't mind taking up a bit more space on the seat, or feel like moving to the floor, you can start working on opening up your hip flexors by going into the butterfly position. Bring your feet up, place the soles together, and draw them into your groin to a reasonably comfortable position. Wherever your knees are, focus on pushing them down towards the ground as far as you can safely go. Hold the position for about a count of 6 and then relax. On each next push down, see if you can push tiny increments further, but don't worry if you're not feeling like there's a great deal of progress. The more you do this position or exercises, the more your hips will become accustomed and it will get easier over time. You can use your hands or forearms to assist the knee to floor movement, but don't force it. Going on to the wrists, what we're looking at here is a similar stabilisation exercise as we had for the knees. You can use your hands or a light weight if you have something non-breakable nearby. Have one hand either fully extended or closed in a fist. Check that the line between the back of your hand and that forearm is flat. The wrist should not be rotated forward or back. Use the other hand to push from either the inside or outside of the fist or extended fingers while working to maintain that flat back of hand to forearm line. Hold for a count of 3 to 4 seconds and then swap position or hands. If you're using a small weight, place it on the palm or back of the open hand and try to maintain that line in a horizontal plane. And there you go. Several really simple exercises that you can use to help strengthen your joints, provide more stability and mobility, and all without having to get up off your seat.